Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Mainstream Monday here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with
John Ward.
John Ward. Um, thank God you're not John Board. You know,
John Ward.
that's your name, not Bored. You're not bored. You're
No, I'm not
bored.
bored. No. Chucky keeps me awake.
Good. Well, we're here to talk about season three of Chucky, the final season, even though it wasn't set up to be a final. And even at the end, we'll get to that, but at the end it seemed like they thought it was a shoo-in.
Well, I have a little update when we get to that point.
All
So,
right. Well, I'm gonna do something different today. I'm gonna read the Wikipedia stuff, so bear with me how I do this.
hold on for 1 sec. So, just to let people know, this is Chucky in the White House.
Well,
So,
yep.
he went from a town to a Catholic school to the most evil place that he could find, which was not the Amityville Horror House,
Yeah,
but the White House. So,
the
just let
White
people
House.
know he is at the White
Well,
House.
it'll go into that. So even from the very beginning, after a power outage in the White House,
Oh,
this is, by the way, this is episode it's number one, Murder at 1600. Just like the movie, I think Wesley Snipes is in that movie.
yes.
Directed. This episode is directed by Jeff Renfro, and it was written by Nick Ziegler and Don Mancini. The original air date for it was October 4th, 2023. After a power outage in the White House, the Secret Service gets President James Collins, First Lady Charlotte, and their sons, Grant and Henry, to an underground bunker for safety. During a conference the next day, Secretary Melanie explains that the outage was just an inconvenience. In the Oval Office, President Collins later introduces Melanie and Vice President Spencer Rhodes to Henry's doll, Joseph, which is actually Chucky. Joseph, in quotation marks, was also the name of Collins's youngest son, who died in the previous winter after a terminal cancer diagnosis. When Henry returns home from school, he asks his security detail, Teddy, to check for Joseph. Teddy finds Chucky in the Oval Office and picks him up before Chucky steals his gun and shoots him dead. Teddy's death is ruled as a suicide. After Mr. Fairchild becomes their legal guardian, Jake, Devin, and Lexi use social media to spread Chucky's awareness and to find Caroline. One night, Chucky sends them a message taunting that his new residence has strict policies against visitors. The next morning, Jake, Devin, and Lexi watch the news about Teddy's funeral and sees Henry holding Chucky. They decide to travel to the White House to kill Chucky. All right. So, was there anything? I mean, I this pretty much sums it up. I mean, was there anything we missed?
Well, and since you're going to go episode to episode, I might as well give, murder to murder. I mean, you're going to say it anyways, roughly, but the only murder in this episode is Teddy, the Secret Service guy who Chucky takes his gun and turns it on him and shoots him like right in the eye, and it kind of blows his side of his face off. Somehow they're calling it a suicide. I think later they say, yeah, there's no way. But this is by far the bloodiest season. I mean, they
Mm,
went all out on gore for this.
either
So,
they knew like something could happen where they could, you know, or whatever, or they just got more money and they could throw that into different things, you know.
well,
Uh,
the good thing is that the White House, I would assume the Oval Office is a standing set, since how many movies and TV shows have used it. So they probably just had to rent it. So that's a good thing. Um, but there's as we go across them, there are some things that I have a problem with. Uh, but yeah, so far as deaths are concerned, it's just the one. So
so did you have I guess do you want to consult problems after the whole we read every one of them and stuff or
I think when you say probably a key location, I could point it out, or I could point it out right now. So
okay. Let's go to the next one, I guess.
sure.
Um, so the next one is called Let the Right One In. It was so it's directed by John Hyams. I've heard that name before, not just in Chucky, but I think he's a pretty good director, considered. Catherine Shatina and Amanda Blanchard and Alex Dial and Rachel Paradis all wrote this episode. It was released on October 11th, 2023. During breakfast, Henry says that Joseph wants to go to school and would rather check or doesn't want to go to school. Wait,
Yeah, he doesn't want to go to school. He wants to go to
yeah,
the
that
Oval
was that was
Office.
written wrong. It says wants to, but it means it doesn't want to go to school and would rather check out the Oval Office. Collins agrees to let Joseph come with him one more time. While in the Oval, because he did that before in the first episode. He went with the president to the Oval Office. While in the Oval Office, Collins and Rhodes meet with Warren Price, a government agent investigating Teddy's death. After the three leave, White House Secretary Samantha enters and spots Chucky on the floor. When she picks him up, Chucky kills her with a letter opener. After finding Samantha's corpse, Price summons Charlotte to help him cover up the incident for the sake of Collins's administration. While attempting to gain access to the White House with Jake and Devin, Lexi connects with Grant on TikTok and invites them to the White House annual Halloween party. Charlotte agrees to meet with Miss Fairchild in the White House. When Price summons Charlotte away, Chucky murders Miss Fairchild with a flag and steals her phone. He then calls and taunts Charlotte and Price about the murders. Price plans to continue covering up any evidence and blackmails Charlotte about Colin's affairs. Chucky calls Jake, Devin, and Lexi. He taunts them over Miss Fairchild's death and remarks that he is waiting for them. So I guess those are the only deaths, but you can read them off.
Um,
Am I taking your job away from you?
a little bit, but they don't have a lot in here. Like this one, it does have the two. So Samantha, throat slashed to near decapitation. No, it well, okay, I guess it with letter opener, it is, but I guess just the weight of the head is what tears it off.
Oh man, that
So
was crazy. He's like, "You're looking at me upside, like, are you seeing me upside down?" It's like taunting her as she's dying. And I don't know. I hate to say it, but if your neck is like that, you're probably dead. There's no way that a person could. I don't think a person could survive with their neck being like that. You know, I don't know. But it was cool looking, so I never bat an eye when there's a Chucky death because a lot of it's supernatural anyway, you know, right?
yeah, I mean, I guess they when they used to guillotine people, their eyes would still move. Their head would still be going for a little bit.
Mm.
So, but yeah, then the other one would have been yeah, Miss Fairchild smothered to death with an American flag, which I thought was funny because it's the American flag, out of like anything that they could have used, they used the American flag to murder somebody with.
Nope.
Which Mel Gibson has done twice. He did it once in The Simpsons and then once in The Patriot. He shish kebab the guy
Which
with
came
it.
first?
Oh God, I don't remember. Somebody asked this. It's like either the people from The Patriot got it from The Simpsons or The Simpsons got it from The Patriot. I think Simpsons came first.
So they predicted it, or
Yeah,
they.
maybe. Yeah.
That's kind of funny.
So,
All right. So that episode had been called Let the Right One In, which is another movie. All of these are named after movies, horror movies, generally, or like thrillers or, spy movies or whatever. Just done different things. So, the next one is episode 3, and that's called Jennifer's Body. Obviously a reference to uh, the movie, the Megan Fox movie, but also Jennifer Tilly, who's in the movie, who's
correct.
in the show. Directed by John Hyams, again, also written by the same four people who wrote the last one. So I guess they got a chance to. Wait, is it different? Anybody different? So it's Alex Daly, Rachel Paradis, Catherine Shatina, and Amanda Blanchard. Now, I love this that there's a lot more women writers on Chucky. I think that's really cool. We never talked talked about the writing and how a lot of it is staff writing. So he Don Mancini, who is openly gay, probably is very welcoming with women writers, which I think is great, you know.
Most likely, yeah, yeah.
1 year before a police raid interrupts Chucky from killing Tiffany, who is arrested for Mayor Cross's murder, Nika arrives and attempts to chase Caroline and Chucky, but they escape through the subway. After dreaming about him stabbing Andy to death, by the way, just gonna interrupt there. Fucking hated that scene. I was like, I could see that they were like, let's bring Alex back, Alex Vincent back somehow. But like, I saw it. Like, I was like, this has got to be a dream. There's no way they would just do this. They would just kill him like that. Like, that would be the most disrespectful way to get rid of Alex, off of Chucky. And I knew he's gonna be back for whatever movie or whatever they end up doing with it. So it was a dream and I caught it. Like I was like, this got to be a dream. This can't be real. And then of course it was a dream. And I was like, damn it. I just wish they didn't do that. Bring him back. You could have still brought him back for like a couple episodes or something, right? Or not. We didn't need us. We didn't get Kyle this season.
But well, yeah, he talks to her on the phone, which is weird.
Yeah. So we didn't really get Kyle like he was on the phone with her, but I don't even think did we hear her voice?
No,
No. So like it was almost like they couldn't get them or something, like for like more than just for him for more than that just that one episode. But I felt like I don't know. I felt like if they had actually killed him, that would have been a very disrespectful way for it to happen, like that quick, that sort of, like have him fight, have it be something cool. Don't let him go out like a bitch like that. And
I
I
thought his death was. If you watched Chucky's legs, they are doing some great stuff with his legs. Like when he's strangling the woman with the flag, you could see that his legs, if this was my back, his legs are like right here with his feet. So his
Mhm.
feet, it kind of gives the excuse of why you just can't throw a doll off, is because
Uh-huh.
he's using his feet to pressure, and then he's pulling it while he's pressuring his feet into her back. And he does the same thing uh,
Alex.
with Alex's death, is that he's got his feet on his chest and he's stabbing him. I thought it was a pretty brutal death and looked pretty good, but yeah, I mean it's a dream, or was it?
Or was it?
Maybe it was a
No.
premonition.
I hope not. All right. So, where was it? After dreaming about stabbing Andy to death, Chucky discovers his doll form is starting to age, which I thought was a really cool new thing that they did here. What'd you think of the aging stuff
Oh, well,
storyline?
I thought it was great because it was hilarious that he has too much Christianity in him because of being at the Catholic school. So he goes to the evil doctor, that only sees serial killers and stuff. And Chucky doesn't kill
Voodoo
him.
people, like like it was like voodoo monsters or something because like that guy was served Damballa, which we get a lot of Damballa in this season, and I was all for it, because I didn't know Damballa was a real life voodoo. It's not a god, but it's a deity, some sort of deity thing. Not a god necessarily, but he is worshipped by people and whatnot in the voodoo world. But they use things like when Jennifer uses her voodoo stuff, they say like she says a specific word, and I was looking it up. I was doing a little research while I was watching it on the voodoo stuff in Dimbala, and she was actually calling when she calls for the people to be like sort of under her spell, it's by another voodoo person, not Damballa, but like another voodoo as like a voodoo woman, thing. So I thought, wow, they're really going deep into this and the lore of their the voodoo stuff, which I thought was pretty cool, you know. By the way, Damballa is not evil in real like in those, in people's legends and things, he's supposed Damballa is supposed to be a good deity, and everything. But for the sake of Chucky, and it started from the very beginning, you know, with Child's Play 1, calling him and everything. It, made sense. But I never knew it was real. We've talked
I
about this movie and I just never knew that. Did
I
you?
didn't know. No, I had no idea. No, I never
Really
looked it
cool.
up. I figured it was just made up stuff.
I did
But
too. And then I was like, wait, there was something that he said or did. I was like, wait, is this a real thing? So I Googled it and I was like, oh my God, Damballa is a real like worshipped deity. So I guess maybe Don Mancini actually did that. Like he studied that stuff or something, and threw it into the original thing. So that's pretty cool.
hmm.
Um, yeah. So starting to age, Chucky visits Dr. Rosen, who is an expert in voodoo, and learns that as a result of his exorcism at the girls' Catholic school of the Incarnate Lord, Damballa has abandoned him. Which I thought, I agree with you. That I think that's hilarious. That he has too much Christianity in him because of an exorcism that he had no control over. Like he's. I wish he I mean, even if because he did talk to Damballa at one point, I wish he would have said, "Hey, I was exercised. It wasn't my fault." You
Yeah, he
know?
talks to another Chucky.
Yeah, he's talked to another Chucky. We'll get to that later. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. This has a lot of cool stuff in it, so I really like it. This is my favorite season by far. Um, let's see. Damballa has been him to regain Damballa's faith and allow him to continue living. He must sacrifice 6 people in an evil location. Chucky kills 6 people at 112 Ocean Avenue, which is Amityville, but the ritual fails, so he chooses the White House as his
But
next
if you
location.
notice, he that's not the Amityville house. I mean, not that they could just go to the actual house, but the structure of it, and he does in that area. Everybody thought that that Amityville house, when the movie originally came out, was like special. It was by itself. It was like, oh my God, that place is evil. Just look at it. It has 2 eyes. There's like 100 of those everywhere. Colonial houses were built all over the place. But the funny thing is, that colonial house, the front door is in the wrong place. The door to the actual Amityville house is technically like the side in the middle, and this was on the end on the side.
Hmm.
So the kind of structure of the house, film wise, like story wise, is wrong, but it still has the windows and stuff. And I knew instantly what they were doing. And
Yeah,
me being a huge Amityville fan, I loved it that they felt that it was and at first I thought maybe he just went into a colonial house, just like a random one. But then he goes, eat your heart out,
yeah,
Ronnie
DeFeo.
DeFeo, yeah, DeFeo. No, I can't say it. DeFeo, and that made me laugh again. So
Yeah, and that made me laugh. And then, the girl says, "Who's Ron DeFeo?" And he looks over and goes, does anybody ever teach anybody anything anymore or something like that? And I was just like, that's cute. That's cute. Because Caroline is, I love her to death, but she's not the sharpest tool in the shed,
well, that's
and
the
everything.
problem with young people these days, and I think that it really stops with my generation. And they this joke was on like Saturday Night Live, I think, for a little while, which is where it would be an older person. Oh, have you seen the movie Jaws? No, I was born in the 90s. So
Yeah, it
it's
did
like,
not, that didn't stop in my generation. At least I know, but for millennials, we love older films, and stuff like that. But I
I
know
don't know,
for,
but but those jokes are all made because of millennials.
I think,
That's
it's fun. Maybe I don't know, parenting of the millennials, but which I'm not a parent, so I can't say anything to. But when I grew up, and this is just me, right? So I don't think I'm anything like everybody else, right? So especially people my age, I didn't get along with anybody my age, really, not many people. But there's when I grew up, my parents made sure I watched classic movies. They had me watch Jaws, they had me watch The Godfather, they had me watch movies from, like, my mom absolutely loved screwball comedies. And so I would sit down and just watch screwball comedies with her all the time. And so now that she's passed away, I'm hoping someday maybe I get married and to somebody has kids or something and I can pass that on to other people, or my nephew, who's living with us. I can maybe go, "Hey, when he's old enough, like watch some screwball comedies, because he wouldn't get them now, or whatever." But anywho, I just thought I grew up differently than probably a lot of kids did. So I did know Amityville and plus I'm a horror guy. So horror
Well,
guys
most likely. I mean, my mother always gave me a hard time. Like, why are you listening to the Beatles? Why don't you listen to some of your own music? What? You're listening to the Beach Boys? Why don't you listen to some of your own music? It's like, Mom, I am. But
that
can't
is
I
your
like
music.
stuff before?
But
Do I only have to listen to stuff now? Like present day stuff? Can't I watch movies from today and the 50s and the 60s and the 70s? Why do I only, it's
yeah,
like that's what she was implying, even though she's, obviously older than me. It's like, why do you think I'm stuck in one time period to listen to music or watch
mm,
movies?
I love this movie.
With screen.
Seven.
Oh, Seven Samurai. That's hard
Yeah,
font.
yeah, that's bad font. I'm not gonna lie, but I still love it. That's my 4K of Seven Samurai, which I absolutely adore that movie. But that's
Oh.
the thing is that I mean, it took me a long time before I got into watching like classic stuff like Criterion films. It wasn't until like I don't know, 2016 or something, or whatever, that I was like, "Ooh, what's this stuff?" You know? So but as a movie lover, you have to watch. If you're not a movie lover, that's fine. Not everybody is, but if you classify yourself as a true movie lover, you gotta watch more than just what came out this month at the box office,
Well,
and
I
stuff.
think that's a problem with a lot of the people that are on Facebook that are making films, is they only watch movies that are made on Facebook, or they only watch bad movies. And so they duplicate bad movies. And it's like, no, you need to watch Hitchcock. You need to watch, I don't know, John Ford. You need to watch
Orson
Spielberg,
Welles.
Orson Welles. You need to watch all of these. And if you want to steal from the masters, go ahead. But I
Mhm.
think that's something to kind of bring it back to Chucky is Don Mancini is obviously a huge movie fan.
Oh,
And
it happens a lot through this movie, like this series, this season specifically. They
yeah,
had a lot of movie references and different things, and we'll get into a few of those if they don't say it.
well, and I'll say this before you go is I found it interesting the Devin Sawa who plays the president in this, he does have the two roles, but the president I thought they did the same thing with him that they did with the West Wing. So you have the West Wing is Martin Sheen is a Christian Democrat. So he has conflicting views. I'm a Democrat. I know I have to kill this drug dealer, but because I'm Christian, I can't. And
Right,
then he would constantly wrestle with this. And that's because they didn't want to alienate either side of the audience.
right,
So you have them do both. And that's what they did with Chucky in the White House is they made the president kind of this nonpartisan in the middle guy
hmm
who never really has political views or religious views, one side to the other. And then that way it doesn't piss off an audience. I think that's a little wimpy,
I
but
like
I
it.
I get why they I don't know, I think you should be on one side or the other.
I'm
So,
not, I mean, me personally, I'm not on one side or the other. I'm in
well,
the middle.
I am in the middle. I do, but I'm more to one side than I am
You
the other.
lean more one side than the other. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting because they don't, I guess they don't really have time in this because I mean it's what,
I
eight
mean,
episodes compared
yeah,
to
it's not,
23?
and it's not a, it's not a political political show, right? Like it's not they're not going to go into like the politics of everything, that goes on. They're just going to touch upon the stuff that involves Chucky, right? And everything because that's what we're here for. We're here for Chucky. We're not here to hear politics because to me, in honesty, when a lot of people do that, say they did go one way, it might alienate you, and you might be like, "Oh, really? They did that?" And I've heard you do that. You have done that before, where in like a movie or something, you'll be like, "Oh, really?" Like I'll use the example, The Hunt, you know, or whatever. There was a couple times where you're like, "Damn, they really should have went that way because then like you would have whatever they did it the exact way they needed to do it so everybody gets a chance to watch it and enjoy it and not for the politics of it.
I the hunt you did change my mind on, if you
That's
remember,
true, yeah.
and especially with our lead character, and so I get that. What I and I'm glad that Chucky or the West Wing kind of did what it did because I don't want the and you've been getting that a lot lately. I'm watching the Arrowverse.
Yeah,
I, I
well,
I should know with where I stand that it's gonna get to me. It's Supergirl is better than Superman, and it's just like no, no, she isn't. And it's like, but you got to because it's a feminist show, and so it's like I know it's not written for me, but I like superhero stuff. But it's like, yeah, so I'm glad this stayed away from that because it's now what it didn't stay away from, which is something that we've discussed in seasons 1 and 2,
it
is
gets like progressively
the
more.
underaged kids having sex,
I
and
mean,
this and it happens like 3 times in this, and it's very much implied that the two underaged boys are doing a little more than just making out.
right.
So I
But in
don't.
my defense, like if I don't see it on camera, like I don't see them no penetration or something on camera or anything like that, I don't kind of view it as a problem necessarily because in my opinion in real life underage kids have sex with each other all the time, but it's different when you see like we've talked about Euphoria on the last season or so where you see a naked chick who's obviously in their above 18 years old like Sydney
Yeah.
Sweeney, and then you see them and they're having sex with an underage guy because they're underage, supposedly on the show, and it creeps me out because it makes me wonder how many people kind of watch it for that, like how many pedos or whatever watch that show just so they can get that satisfaction of like, oh, these are two, you know, and
Well,
it creeps me out.
guaranteed when people found, all of a sudden when Sydney Sweeney kind of blew up and they're like she's on Euphoria and she gets quite naked in Euphoria, that as I'm sure those views went up,
No,
during those 2 seasons. It would be, I'm not going to watch season 3 because I just don't like the show anymore. It does kind of gross me out, but it I'm curious to see how many of the actresses in there show nudity still. Guaranteed she's not. I really have this
I
feeling
don't
she's
know
not.
what's gonna happen when HBO is bought out. You know,
Oh, well, that's a whole other video.
I know, but that's a
So,
whole nother. Actually, we should do a video like that at some point. Because I have a lot to talk about on that. But maybe sometime
but
you and I can.
but I think with this, like you have the teacher who's now like their surrogate parent, And she's sitting down with the two guys and she's reading from this list. So who's a top and who's a bottom?
Yeah.
Who, you need condoms. And she's doing all this stuff that isn't straight sex. So it's like this is she's a teacher who is the technical parent who is giving them,
The
I
sex
guess, the
talk.
the birds and bees, yeah,
Um,
of gay sex
because nobody,
to,
they don't have parents to do that with them.
well, but it's two underage kids,
Right.
which,
Which,
so if you're doing this in a, let's just say they were both straight and it was the guy and the girl, and she's doing it, I think it would still bother me that because they're underaged. And but with the two guys, and of course with Dom Mancini being gay, and if you're going to be on a show like this, you have to be really okay with it. I don't think a grip, unless they're just into it for the paycheck, or a gaffer, if you're not okay with this, you probably shouldn't work on the show. And I think it is implying to kids that age, that are underaged, that it is okay to do this. And even though we know kids drink, we know they have
kids are
sex, we
gonna
know
do it
they do
anyway.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have to influence it.
I don't
I
think it's
mean,
influencing. I mean, I think it's just being aware. Now, my only big problem is I don't think I kind of when you were talking about how if these were two straight people, like a man and a woman, like it was Lexi and Jake instead of Jake and Devin, I think she would have said, nope, nope, don't do that. You guys can't do that. But that's only because you can get the girl pregnant and stuff and everything.
are you
I
saying
think.
these days that men cannot get pregnant?
I'm pretty sure unless they've juniored, people these days. Um,
A lot of people argue against that
I
because a woman who is doing the transition into a man can still get pregnant.
right. I mean,
So
I'm not talking about
technically,
that, I guess,
no, but
but
that's what they're saying is that would be a woman who's transforming into a man is now a man, but the man can become pregnant. And if you say no, that's a problem.
I mean, can they?
If it's a woman becoming a man,
Because they
if
still
they
have they still have all the parts.
they still have all the pipes.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then yes, but if they still
But no,
have,
I
if they
I, I
haven't fully transitioned yet, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
no,
about
I know. I'm just
and
but
even if
it's
somebody comes at me, I'll say exactly what I just said, which is that that if they were, I'm talking about a man who was never a woman and always was a man,
it's ma'am.
ma'am.
Have you not seen that video of the
No,
6 foot tall man dressed as a woman, and a kid in a convenience store calls him man, and he freaks out, yelling at them and throwing shit around, going,
no,
it's ma'am."
no, I've
But
not.
no, it's possible, yeah, that she would say don't do that. But I would not encourage. I mean, maybe because I am older, it's I don't think any parent wants to see their kid, straight or gay, having sex. And
Well,
and,
that's
and
why
when I
she
say,
leaves.
yeah, because it gets very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
But I
because she would
don't.
goes into her room or whatever,
Yeah, and she leaves the water gate. Now that was going to be my problem. So she leaves the Watergate, and do you know how expensive the Watergate is?
What Watergate? What?
The Watergate Hotel
Oh,
from Nixon.
oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
So it's
I
it's a famous place where Nixon got busted for doing all the recordings, and his men broke into these rooms and stuff, into these offices. So they're staying at the Watergate because she mentions it. That room is massive.
right,
That's like a one-bedroom apartment that they're
right.
in. And it makes no sense to me. These kids don't have jobs. She's an out of work teacher. How are they affording the Watergate?
I don't. I don't. I don't ask. The same reason Chucky is a doll. like it just
Yeah,
you
I
just
guess
don't ask.
well, at times you have to make up excuses. Like on Friends, Monica's apartment, she said that it's rent controlled. So,
Right.
because that size of an apartment in New York would be like a gazillion dollars.
Right.
But oh, it's rent controlled. She mentions it, I think, in the very first episode. So that kind of throws that out the window because she says that. But I find it funny when I see things like this, that
Hmm.
even in Arrowverse that I'm watching, in Arrow and the Flash, two of our characters have this massive apartment, massive, like in the height of the town or city. And it's like this thing would cost thousands of dollars for you to live in, and you literally do nothing. Like you're a reporter. You do nothing. How can you possibly afford this?
So I wrote a short film called The Closet. I did not come out of it, but there
Oh,
was
you're
a
still in it, but that's okay. One day you will.
yeah. So anyway, the idea is that there's the closet's got a voice inside that tells the girl to kill her husband, right? I play the husband. Devaney Penn plays the what is it, the wife or whatever. And the big thing was like there was a really nice fancy set that the director made, right? And he produced it, he got it all together. He did a fantastic job. Terry Jernigan did a fantastic job. But he was like, I had to make you rich because he had to change a scene that was not in the script, but he had to put me looking like I was rich, had rich clothes on, and stuff like that because he did not believe he said that the audience would not believe that that hot girl was with me. I was like, ouch. Unless I was rich. Unless I was rich. So that's how he like explained cover that up. And I always thought, damn, that's pretty messed up.
Well,
But
that is harsh, but if we're using our own things, for Axmis 1, Mikey, who has the really hot wife in the movie, or girlfriend, who's actually a model, people in the review said there is no possible way that guy got her.
mhm.
No way. Because Mikey won't take off his wedding ring. So I had to change it to that they're a married couple. Everybody else is dating, they're married. And they're just like, no way. No, And I would comment back saying, it's because he makes her laugh. Because that's what
Yeah.
girls always say, I want a guy who makes me laugh, so he makes her laugh.
I've known these people that I'm not going to say names or anything because it's messed up. One guy was not very attractive. The woman was a supermodel, and they were like engaged, and stuff. And it was because he made her laugh. He had, they're not no longer together, but I don't think that was because of unattractiveness or anything anymore. I think it's just sometimes, you get apart and stuff. But the point is like, that happened. So anyway, go. I don't know where that came from for this. So let's get back to this.
Well, it was the room at the Watergate.
Yeah, the
So
room at
yeah,
the
yeah,
Watergate.
that that's the one thing.
You
That's the
make
one thing that really bugged me.
you gotta explain something, like just even a line where they say, how could you afford this place? And she said,
Well, I
you
think it's
know,
meant as a joke, right? But they're supposed to be in Washington, they're DC. It's a joke that they're at the Watergate. Even Forrest Gump was at the Watergate. So it's I think it's just meant to be a joke, or we're not supposed to take it seriously. But when you look at the room, it is massive.
yep.
So yeah,
All right, so let's see. So he visits Joseph's gravesite while the Collinses are mourning, and Henry keeps him. At Tiffany's trial, Nika, Jake, Devin, and Lexi testify against her. Tiffany, as Jennifer Tilly, is convicted of Chucky's murders and sentenced to death. But she tried to frame it as she was innocent because or she was guilty because of
insanity.
insanity and stuff.
But
Um,
which is true and not true because she is Tiffany. So she
right.
keeps telling everybody, I'm Tiffany, which is true.
But no
But
one's not gonna believe that. So
yeah,
you have
nobody's
to
gonna buy the the fake personality
I
type of
mean, what
thing.
is she gonna do though? Like, was she try to get a basically go back to a mental asylum or something?
Yeah, like that's what Jack Nicholson did in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He convinced the court that he was nuts, so he wouldn't have to go to prison.
Well, well,
And
there
then
we
look what
go.
happened to him.
Hey, Brad Dourif's in that movie.
But there you
There you
go.
go. That's a connection right there.
Yeah,
One of his best roles other than Chucky. You know, Chucky is my favorite role now. Like I just absolutely
he's
after
good.
watching this
Worm
stuff is
tongue.
really great. All right. So number four, episode
Oh, wait,
four.
wait. So the only two murders that are in this cab driver.
Oh, we forgot to mention that, which was Keenan Thompson, played the cab driver,
Yep. And
and
if he just shut up, he probably would have lived. So umbrella shoved down his mouth, opening up and exploding his throat.
mm-hmm, that was
And then
pretty
we
fucking
have
cool.
yeah. And then, well, umbrellas killing people are good. They also did it in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Eight partygoers stabbed to death off screen.
8 party goers. What party?
So stabbed. Um.
Was this like a flashback or something?
uh, oh, that'd be the Amityville house.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, because it's episode 3 where we get all that stuff with Chucky. Yeah, so it'd be the Amityville house.
Yep. Is that it?
Yep, yeah, just the two, but I guess nine deaths.
All right. Here we go. All right. So number four is Just to Kill, directed by Jeff Renfro. Rachel Paredes and Don Mancini wrote this episode. This is aired October 25th, 2025, which is the last day before they have that big break. You know. All right. So, despite Charlotte's objections, Price convinces her to hold the White House's annual Halloween party to assuage. I've never been able to say that word right.
Like a
Assuage. I'm gonna say that. President Collins and his populace. Charlotte hires nanny Annie Gilpin to watch over Henry during the party while Chucky plans for the arrival of Jake, Devin, and Lexi, intending to kill them as his final three sacrifices to Dimbala. The three drive to the White House with a plan to prove Chucky's guilt as well as subdue him, while President Collins sees what appears to be Joseph's spirit. Henry comes downstairs with Chucky, Jake, Devin, and Lexi, try to get Chucky to speak, but another power outage ensues. We forgot to mention there are these ghosts that just keep popping around, and it's the ghosts that are in the White House.
which is a true thing.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah. Like
Yeah,
I don't know,
it's supposed to be very haunted.
yeah, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But let's see. Jake, Devin, and Alexi try to. Okay, I did that one. But wait, try to get Chucky to speak, but another and power ensues. When power outage ensues, when the lights come on again, a chandelier loosened by Chucky falls, killing Annie and several. That pissed me off. I'm sorry. You see a a nail or whatever, a pin fall from the
It
chandelier.
was a bolt.
A bolt. Sorry, bolt.
A bolt.
You see a bolt fall and you pick it, you hand it, you run your fucking ass.
I don't know. I would look up like where did this bolt come from?
I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care. I would run.
That's
There's,
straight from Phantom of the Opera. I mean, that's because Chucky was dressed up like the Phantom. So I love the chandelier falling. Even in the stage play with it, the chandelier fell into the audience and swung across. So I like the chandelier falling, and then it
yeah.
just killed
Oh, it
a
was a
whole bunch of
cool, yeah, it
people.
was a cool, but nobody did anything. Nobody ran, just stood there and let it smash them. And I'm like, I could maybe see shock, but I don't know. I would have thought somebody would run if they saw that, but they did not. All right. So killing other and several other party goers. Henry and Joseph are ushered upstairs as the remaining guests are escorted out. Chucky attempts the ritual once again, but it fails again, and he discovers he is even older than before. Meanwhile, in yeah, so So him doing that gets him even more age. Like Dembala's like, fuck you. You're gonna keep dying.
Well, and yeah, and if you notice, Chucky through even in part, I think it's part two, right, where he gets half of his face burnt off. Or is that in part one? No, it's in part one, where he gets half of his face burnt off, and then he goes down and puts himself into like the other Chucky, and so they're doing it because Chucky's watching the little sister and the doll through upstairs through like the skylight, and the rain's coming down. So
Hmm.
they're kind of doing Phantom of the Opera throughout this whole thing that
Nice.
which I like. And what are they now going to do about Jennifer Tilly? Not the act, not like in real life, but the since Jennifer Tilly was in the doll and it got smashed by the semi truck, like splattered everywhere. Is she now dead?
Wait, what?
Remember, Tiffany was in the Jennifer Tilly was in the Tiffany doll, right? And the Tiffany doll, not in this season, it was in a prior season. And she escapes from the car and she runs out onto the highway and the semi truck hits the doll and splatters it everywhere.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly is dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not Tiffany.
No, it's the Tiffany doll
Right.
with Jennifer Tilly in it.
Hmm.
So is Jennifer Tilly now dead?
Yeah, that's what I imagined.
So they can't have Jennifer Tilly back in this
No, no, not at all.
unless Tiffany, who is now a doll again, go back into that body of Jennifer Tilly.
But she's never gonna be Jennifer Tilly's soul or whatever was in that other doll and is gone. Like it's
Right, but her body isn't.
right. She could go back into that body if she wanted to, but she has,
As far
I
as
don't
we
think
know, their bodies are in the trunk, at the end of
she wanted to be back in the Tiffany doll, again. And but anyway, we'll get to that. That's later. So he's now older than he was before. Meanwhile, in prison, Tiffany meets celebrity chef Evelyn Elliott, who was the chick from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Nia Vardalos, and I loved her in it. I thought she was great in this. I thought she was hilarious. Because my favorite bit is that I don't think they mentioned this in it, but that character, the chef, obviously very modern, kind of made a name, sort of can't even talk right now. Was kind of modeled after Martha Stewart would be my guess, and because I think even uh what is it? Tiffany said Martha Stewart eat your heart out. So I wonder if they tried to reach out to Martha. And Martha was like, I'm not blaming myself in this thing, or whatever. So they're like,
I
let's just
gotta go get high with Snoop.
yeah. So they're like, oh fuck that. All right, we'll just make somebody else play a character like that. And so she's like this world-class chef, whatever, and stuff. And she gets really upset when she mentions she killed her own sister. I thought that was funny, where she's like, I
But
have a sister," and blah blah
but
blah.
that's the tipping point. She had no problem killing her husband and like the young girl that he was having the affair with
Right.
and making them into a casserole. That she had no problem with. But Tiffany killing the sister, or as Jennifer killing Meg Tilly, that was the tipping point. You
Well,
can't do
Tiffany
that.
killing Meg because Jennifer never killed anyone.
No, but Tiffany as Jennifer
Yep.
killed Meg.
Right.
So
So,
that you can't do in this person's eyes,
yeah.
but baking a casserole out of two people, you can. So no, she was very good in this. I liked her in this.
Yeah, who quickly despises her upon hearing that she killed Meg. Tiffany also receives a package of voodoo dolls. She uses one to torture and kill Evelyn, then uses another to hypnotize a guard into helping her escape, which I enjoyed that. Your deaths, please.
So what we got are so yeah, so Evelyn Elliot, so voodoo controlled by Tiffany into self-mutilating and melting her face off in boiling water. Gretchen sliced in half by a falling chandelier, Annie Gilpin face sliced off by a falling chandelier, and also 8 partygoers crushed by a falling chandelier.
And that was it.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
mean that's eight, nine, 10. So that's 11 deaths.
yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
But yeah, he did more than he asked for, and of course that still doesn't make Damballa happy.
no,
Damballa's got a big grudge against Chucky. And I don't blame him. He keeps using Damballa. Damballa's like, fuck man, leave me alone. You know, Damballa, I beg of you. And then all of a sudden, Damballa's like, ah, fine, I gotta do this again. All right,
yep,
fine. You know,
not anymore.
I can see where, like, like imagine if you were a Christian and you called and you just praying to God all the time about stupid shit, or whatever. God was just like rolling his eyes, going, "Dude, I'm done. I'm done.
How
I'm
many
tired."
times do I have to help you find your car keys?
Yeah, fucking man. And I even got somebody to tell you to get a fucking beeper thing for your car keys, but you just don't listen.
No,
That's your fault. You're gonna have to find them yourself.
that's
You
right.
know, so just a joke. Sorry, God, don't come after me.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
Um,
Jesus.
yeah. Hey, don't speak his name in vain. God damn it. All right.
Oh, oh,
I'm kidding, God. Don't strike me down. All right. Episode 5, Death Becomes Her, which great movie by the way. I love that movie. I don't know if you remember seeing that movie or not.
it was okay.
I liked it. I liked the part where the person had the hole in their. I think it was Meryl Streep or something had a hole in their.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah.
effects and stuff were fine.
Yeah. For that time period too, like pretty awesome. And there were practical effects back then. Um, so this was directed by Samir Rahim. It was written by not Dick, but Nick Ziegler, Amanda Blanchard, and Diana Powell. It's Pawel.
Glad you got to pronounce those names and not me.
Powell, I guess. Yeah, I'm terrible with these things, so bear with me. April 10th, 2024. So this was part two, you know?
I hated that. And I know as the writer's strike, fucking writers didn't deserve anything they got, in my opinion, because they write like dog shit, write good movies, and then, go on strike. But that annoyed the shit out of me. It's like,
Well,
it's 8 episodes. Really? We
well, it
have
was
to
in the
wait like
middle.
months
It
to
was
get the
in
last
the
part.
middle of shooting that this stuff happened. They had to stop. So they had to like
I don't care. These strikes are so fucked up and they just screw everything up and it's all out of selfishness and greed. So
a lot of the writer's strike and even some of the actors strike was about AI taking over and everything and not letting that happen and making sure that writers get credit and writers write the scripts and that because if the studios had their way they would just go let's let ChatGPT write everything. We'll have a guy come up and clean it up and then
that would
that's
be a
all we have
yes
to
and
pay for.
no. If you had a really good script, then
But I
maybe the studios would say, let's find more people who write good scripts so that we wouldn't have to use AI.
right. And I sort of agree with you. I don't think you can blame writers for every single thing. A lot of times the writers have I'm going to use this as an example. Um so you ever seen the movie The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey and
Yes,
did
sadly,
you like
yes.
the movie or did you
Oh
not like
God,
the movie?
no,
Okay.
no.
So in that movie, it was originally written for Chris Farley and stuff, and it was going to be a very uh, it was gonna be like just a regular comedy where it was like, Chris Farley was this guy who was the cable guy. Whoever was gonna play that other role was going to, basically be bothered by this guy the whole time. At one point, the cable guy was gonna move in next to him, and there was all this stuff. And Lou Holtz Jr. wrote it. Then, uh, then Chris Farley had to back out because of Black Sheep of all things. And he had to go do Black Sheep. While he was doing Black Sheep and he couldn't do it, they said, "Who else could we get?" They offered it to a couple other people, and finally they got I think even Adam Sandler was attached at one point, and then it got to Jim Carrey. Well, when Jim Carrey read it, he said, "I don't want to play like Ace Ventura again. I don't want to do this kind of like regular comedy. I want to do a dark comedy. So let me get my buddy Judd Apatow to rewrite it. He rewrote it. Ben Stiller directed it, and then they made the movie. But if you look at the script for Lou Holtz's one, there's a few similarities, but really the rest of the movie was not Lou Holtz Jr.'s script.
But that was a different time period too. I mean, scripts, they would buy a good script and mess it up. I mean,
Right.
that happened all the time. But if you look at what's done today, everything that Disney does is garbage today. The writing is awful.
But a lot
It
of
is
that is
so
studio interference. It's people
that
telling them, you need
it's
the
pr
message put in there. You need
it's
this,
the
this, this.
yeah, exactly.
But that's not
So
the writer's fault unless the writers say, I
no,
don't
because
want to
they
work.
hire the writers
But
who want to do this. So
okay, so
you get a diverse group of people who only want to write about the message and insert themselves into the characters instead of just trying to make a good TV show or movie. I mean, there's no way you can't tell me that Kathleen Kennedy is not Ray. Ray is 100% Kathleen Kennedy. That's why she
well,
never wants to get rid of her.
and
So
and the other thing is, would you, using this as a hypothetical, say Marvel said, John, I really liked Axmas, and I really want you to write the new, whatever the new hot, superhero thing, right? Would you say
mhm.
yes or no? Would you say no? Would you turn down working for them? I mean, a lot of times people won't. And you even said you turned down was it the Roger Corman thing because of like an ego thing. You said you wouldn't do that again,
Oh, that was
like
like 40 years
I
ago,
know, but I'm
too.
saying like
Me
I
being a
don't think you
stupid
would do
20
it.
year
I
old.
don't think you would do it. I don't think you would turn it
I
down.
would be afraid. I have told Joe Lujan that could be because he goes, I would direct a Marvel movie. I said, you should not. It will destroy your career. Don't do it. It will do
I don't think
all.
it would destroy your career.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of work after it because they're such disasters.
I think some of the people have gone on, like Scott Derrickson left, and he's gone on to continue doing stuff with the Black Phone and everything like that. So I don't think I think it's a good idea to do it. But the thing is, you're not gonna like it because you're gonna force you to do it the way they
It,
want you to do it, not the way you want
if
to do it.
if they sat there and said to me, John, would you like to work on Chucky season 4? I would know there is going to be a lot of gay stuff in this. And am I comfortable with that? Do I like Chucky enough to where I am okay to where this is going to be going? And I would have to make a decision on yes or no. Same thing with like the Arrowverse and all that stuff. And it's just like, am I okay if I worked on Supergirl, knowing that that show basically hates men, that everybody's a girl boss, that it's, men are weak, women are strong. Am I okay with working on that because it's a popular television series? You
Mm.
just have to make that decision to say, yes or no.
Yeah.
Look at She-Hulk. The writers are in the episode at the end. Those aren't actors, those are writers. And if you look who's in there, it's a diverse group of people who are only writing about themselves. They're not interested in the material.
Well, that was a whole different thing because that a lot of that was meta, you know, and everything and whatnot. So I don't really view that one, but that is a terrible, that's a true example because even Jessica Gao said she didn't know anything about lawyer stuff, courtroom stuff, except for what she knew on Law and Order. And I'm like,
It's not what she knew on Law and Order, it's that they watched Law and Order.
that's what they watched on
They
Law and
they
Order.
went and watched it to learn how to write courtroom
That's
stuff.
not that's not that's not real courtroom stuff. That's television court, which is what they wanted, I guess. They wanted to parody, that stuff in a way. But
Well, that's why
they
to kind of bring this back to Chucky is if you're like first season you're doing it in like a town. Okay, that's fine. Anything goes. Next one is in a Catholic school. You're going to kind of have to know how Catholic schools work. You know, you're going to have to make it believable
Hmm.
from all the stuff that we've learned, heard, watched about Catholic schools. Same thing with this. With this is with season three being in the White House. You better at least have watched The West Wing. I learned more about politics from watching the West Wing than I have in a long time
I gotta
because they did
rewatch it. I
their
was trying to watch it a little while ago and got caught up with other TV shows that gotta watch and stuff. And
yeah.
um,
It's because it has good writers. Up to a point, it has good writers, and it's because they did the research on how the White House works in politics. So it's obviously not 100% correct. So I would assume that Don Mancini did his research on how to a degree to that it would seem realistic, even though there's a killer doll running around.
mhm.
You know. So,
All right. Well,
all right,
we're gonna get back to this, I guess. We did that all this, right? We did.
we're on
Um,
death. Death becomes her.
okay. Death becomes her. Episode 5. After the Halloween incident, Collins once again sees Joseph's spirit during a press conference and leaves disoriented. Price shows Charlotte security footage from the incident, but she dismisses it. Chucky murders the White House's housekeeper, but learns that his aging has continued to advance. That night, Chucky calls Tiffany and reveals that he is going to die before both confess their love for each other. Tiffany convinces Chucky to start taking as many lives as he can to become the greatest serial killer of all time. Collins walks through the hallway and follows Joseph's voice to his old room there. Chucky kills Collins and takes his nuclear access codes. Meanwhile, Jake, Devin, and Lexi try to find a way back into the White House. Lexi reconnects with Grant. We forgot to mention, I guess, because Grant and Lexi, like, he thought that Lexi was just using him and
Grant
stuff.
is the president's
Son,
and Miss and the how would I say are the president and Miss President the first
Madam
lady's
President.
Madam
Madam First.
President's kid for
Yeah.
people who don't know. Yeah,
And Grant, and he likes Lexi a lot. I mean, who doesn't? Because she's pretty cool. I've liked her
she
in the
is
show.
belly shirt throughout this entire
I know
show.
they do really kind of hype up her, and she wasn't even 18 yet.
No,
I don't
they
think.
really sexualize her sexual. God, I'm
Um,
even having a problem talking.
yeah, it's okay. It's late at night for both of us. And you I think did you work earlier or no?
No,
Okay, so you had a day off. Good for you.
yeah.
Um, So let's see. Collins walks through the hallway and follows to his old room. Meanwhile, Jake, Devin, and Lexi try to find a way back into the White House. Lexi reconnects with Grant. Jake and Devin come across Dr. Rosen's website and visit him. He explains that Chucky is dying permanently, and the only way they can pursue him into the spirit realm is by dying themselves. While driving home, Jake and Devin stop at a motel for the night, discuss their
Ugh,
futures, and have sex for the first time.
ugh. Okay.
They do mention that, so it was a
Yeah.
big part of that. I guess episode. Your deaths thing. There wasn't much. I think there was just the housekeeper, right?
Well, first, I'm going
Oh
to say
no, in the
this is
wasn't.
how I watched it. I haven't shown this yet. So this is Chucky season three, and he's standing in front of the White House.
I
So I
watched
got
it on
I
Peacock.
so and it does have um there's a deleted scene. Man, am I glad they cut this out. And I'm guessing it's for this reason. They're at the hotel, at the Watergate, and I think it's the teacher who's on the phone and they're looking at it's when she's talking to them about sex and she mentions a bathhouse and Jake is like, what's a bathhouse? And it's like, oh, we'll talk about that later. This is a cut scene of Jake when they're looking at what a bathhouse is. Jake is like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm like, I am glad that is cut out because bathhouses, especially in San Francisco, all gay sex, AIDS was a massive thing in the bathhouses, and they were all shut down during that period. And I would imagine, that Don Mancini knows that. So I'm really surprised that he even had these two underage kids discussing how great bathhouses are, which are just men hooking up with men, a
Uh,
lot of it unprotected.
right.
And it's like, what are you doing?
In you ever seen There's Something About Mary? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you have. But there's that great scene with I think it was Richard Jenkins as like the therapist, and he's not paying attention, like he's like he went away, and Ben Stiller's telling his whole story of how he met Mary and everything like that and stuff. And then he comes back in, kind of sneaks back in, and he's like, "Uh-huh. Uh-huh." And then he hears there's something about he stopped at a rest stop, and he goes, uh rest stops are the bathhouses for many, many, many gay men. And he looks over and goes, what what are you trying to say? He goes, oh, time she's up, we can maybe talk about that next in next session. It's like, that's just
But
one of the best scenes in the movie.
but
It,
but when it's done for a laugh like that, when it's more of like shocking, the other character, that's funny, you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
But
especially
in
when it
this
comes
ca-
back later and the guy's at the rest stop, and then he goes into the bush to run away from the cops, and the guys are like, "Get your own bush," or whatever. They were having sex in the bushes. It's just,
but see, when it's that type of stuff is okay. That's funny. This
yeah.
was serious. This was two underage kids thinking how great bathhouses are. And it's just
Yeah.
it's like the Marvels. That there's a deleted scene where Miss Marvel is on the spaceship. And who is it? The black chick who's in Thor. And she like becomes, I guess, the king. I think that she'd be queen, but she's
Oh,
the
I know
king.
what you're talking about.
I'm blanking on her name. It's Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie pops up because it's supposed to be that Valkyrie and Captain Marvel have some sort of relationship going, like a sexual relationship. So when she pops up on the ship and there's Miss Marvel and the ship starts to rock because it's being hit by like firepower or something, or like missiles or whatever, Valkyrie goes, "Hey, you better strap on. I mean, strap in." And that was like a huge thing, was what are they telling people to use strap-ons? It's like, what? And once
I'm glad
again,
they
this is,
deleted that. I mean,
yeah, and this was two, because I think the girl who plays Miss Marvel was underage at the time. And
oh wow, yeah.
I believe so. She might have been 18 at that time by that point,
No,
because
I think
they,
she was still underage,
yeah, I
because
think
I
she
think she was like
was.
14 when she started or something.
Yeah,
Um,
so you're
I
telling
don't think is
a,
she even of age now? Um, I wonder because she's been like, I mean, she was a that was 2023, I think. So that's 2 years ago. Um, Kamala Khan and Imin Vellani,
I mean, you
and
got to think how long that movie took to come out.
okay, yeah, she was born in 2002. So I thought she was younger. Maybe she played younger. She looked younger. So maybe they.
Well, she's supposed to be a teenager.
So she was 21 at the time, but still, you're right. It's still like weird for them to do that in front of a character that's underage
Well, and you
and
got to think,
stuff.
why are these scenes cut? Why are you filming them to begin with? Just so somebody can go, yeah, that's not really appropriate.
Well, I mean, I don't think they did it like that. I don't think they. Uh,
I think the intention is very much there.
okay.
And then somebody in the studio sat there and said, we got to cut it. Because it's not like it's raw footage. It's all right there. It's finished. They just took it out. So, but
Okay. For
should
Death
I do
Becomes Her. Yep.
deaths now? Okay. So we have housekeeper poisoned with bleach in her drink. And then
I was
James,
wondering what she was poisoned with. I knew she was poisoned with something. I didn't see the bleach. Maybe
It
it was
was
a boy.
on the cart right next to her drink.
Oh,
For
okay.
some reason, I've never done this in my life. I have never taken a drink, took something from it, and set it down without the lid being on it. Like you put the lid back on. This, she didn't do that. It's the big round opening. She takes the drink, puts it on the cart, and it's right next to rat poison. And that's when Chucky, and I'm just like, no, I don't think anybody would do that. I think that especially if you're rolling a cart around, it would slosh all over the place.
Yep.
So, but okay, whatever. James Collins, the president, head smashed with a piggy bank, a chunk of flesh bitten off his cheek, and eyes gouged out. Pretty brutal.
Pretty brutal.
Now, I think, well, okay, no, go on with the next episode because it's
Well,
probably gonna.
I'm gonna say this, and we kind of talked about it. I don't think we'll get into too much, but I last night I saw a dead animal, a dead cat, and the eye was out of the socket. It's the most
Yeah,
gruesome, nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And um, it made me think about. I could not watch Chucky the rest of the night because all I could think about. I had to watch Big Bang Theory to like just not like think about anything, or whatever. Because the image kept popping in my head. I could still pops in my head right now because it's such a nasty thing. I've never seen it. I've never seen that, you know, and everything. And it's funny because it's weird to see it when I see it on a movie like Chucky, where he's gouging out the eyes and stuff. It doesn't feel or look real to me, and then I see it, and it's almost similar looking, you know, and stuff. It almost looks sort of fake, you know what I mean? But it's real, and it's scary and everything. And I had to,
yeah,
uh,
that's unfortunate. It sucks that you have to see that.
yeah, especially when I thought it was my cat, and I was like,
Ugh.
yeah, that's the dread of like, oh God, is what cat? Whose cat is this?
That's why I'm
And
against it. I told my
I
friend
know you.
Noreen, who lets her cat out, and I sat there and said, when your cat gets run over, do not say anything to me about it. Because if you call me and say, little kitty is squashed, I will never be friends with you again. Because I told her, do not let your cat out. Do not. It will get killed by another animal. It will get killed, squashed by a car. Some fucking asshole will torture it. No, cats belong inside the house.
Anyway, all right, you ready?
There we go.
Next one, episode 6, which is called Panic Room. It was directed by Samir Rahim, Alex Delay, and Isabella Gutierrez, and Amanda Blanchard are the writers. April 17th, 2024 was when it came out. Charlotte and Price find Collins's corpse and witness blood manifesting on the walls that right Chucky did it. Charlotte tries to flee but is stopped. Price explains that President Collins's death cannot go to the public, and she, Grant, and Henry are not permitted to leave. Why did they listen to this guy?
Well, because he was going to blackmail.
Bro, I don't care at this point. Like,
I
you,
I agree with him, to be honest. I agree with him.
okay,
Because
explain.
you don't, what are you going to say? Well, you're going to say the president was killed. Now you're going to have a huge investigation. The news is going to know about it. The public is going to know about it. But what are you going to say? A
Mm-hmm.
killer doll ripped his eyes out? You
Mm-hmm.
would then have to make up a story that then would have to be investigated. That's why all of this stuff that's why we never found out what happened to JFK.
Right.
There's only there's the theories and stuff, the conspiracy theories, because they hid it. It's so I agree with him that would want you wouldn't want the general public to know it because you would start a panic. And what would they do? So he blackmails her with the picture of the president making out with the other girl, which I love because his whole campaign was run on transparency, and he never brought up the
Yeah.
affair. And so when she starts to freak out about it, that's when he's even like, okay, we got to take out her and the kids. because
Yep.
we can't have this. We have to, it's like that movie Wag the Dog. We have to make the fake war to get Americans into it. So you can't have transparency on
Or,
this type.
well, this becomes a little bit like Dave, the movie Dave with Kevin Kline, because Price hires Randall Jenkins, a body double, to take Collins's place. Remember that movie Dave, where Kevin
Yeah,
Kline had a was the president, and then he died, so they had to make a fake president and stuff. And then, of course, the fake president falls in love with the first first lady. You know,
yeah.
was that Sigourney Weaver? I think that was Sigourney Weaver.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it is. Yeah, yeah. And of course, the fake president is Devon Sawa. So
Oh
once
yeah,
again,
yeah,
playing two roles. So
right, yeah. So, well, I mean, looks just like Devon
oh yeah,
Sawa. You
it would
know,
make sense.
that night. Wait, hold on. So yeah, Price hires Randall Jenkins, the bodyguard, to take Collins's place. Meanwhile, Jake, Devin, and Lexi agree to go to the White House. That night, Chucky instructs Henry to take him into the room where a gun is hidden in a wall safe and takes Randall hostage. Chucky leads Henry and Randall to the Situation Room and forces the latter, which is Randall, to contact the North American Aerospace Defense Command. Now, with access to nuclear missiles, Chucky sets targets for Moscow, Pyongyang, and the North Pole. You know where Pyongyang is, right?
Oh yeah, it's down on the corner. I ate at it the other day.
No, it's North Korea. So all right. So
I know where it is. Why don't you just tell me where it is so I know that you're getting it right?
I just told you it's North Korea.
I know I'm making up. That's what most people do when they don't know something,
Yep.
but they're
Yep.
trying to
They'll
make
just
you
like I
think.
know it, but you
I
you
know
you
it.
tell me first.
Yeah.
Lexi convinces Grant to help them, and the group reaches the Situation Room before the missiles are launched. That was the best part, though. And he said the North Pole because he wanted every kid to know that Santa didn't exist or whatever,
And it's
and
great.
that
You hear off screen, which is always the best. Henry go, "What?"
yeah. Henry go what? He's like, oh my god.
He's
Um,
absolutely
Poor kid.
devastated.
Yeah, you gotta break it to like a
That was
you know,
always the best stuff on Family Guy. Whenever the stuff was in the background, you couldn't see it, and it was always like Seth MacFarlane talking off screen was always the funniest stuff. Because
I
that's just funny for some reason when you just hear the voice, the disembodied voice.
poor actor who played Henry had to hear that Santa was dead. It was didn't exist and stuff in the show. Like, well, unless his parents hid that from him, when they read the script to him and stuff like that, they were like, "Oh, all you gotta say is what?
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
gonna bring that kid
they
in
didn't
there."
even have him in the room at the time, and then they just filmed him saying what.
That's
So yeah,
probably why
that's
his was off screen. Um, Lexi convinces Grant to help him, and the group reaches. Okay, wait. Reaches the Situation Room before the missiles are launched. Charlotte Price and the Secret Service agent Coop also arrive, with Coop shooting Chucky in the heart, while Randall aborts the missiles. Before Chucky launches the missile to the North Pole, however, Chucky launches the missile to the North Pole before disintegrating into dust. As Price scrambles to lock the. Oh, and he also said, "Fuck Santa." Right? That was one of the best parts. Fuck Santa.
I
uh,
think if they just wanted to end Chucky, like maybe start over again, he should have launched when he got the launch codes. And I forgot about that. And I'm just like, oh, I love that Chucky has the launch codes. That is great. And if they wanted to end it, they should have just had him launch every single one. And
just blow up the
Chucky,
window. Yeah, blow up the
the
world.
entire world is blown up. Yeah, and then you just start over again, with
Uh,
Chucky 1. But it's
yeah,
the I still like that he hit it and he still got the one missile in the
he
air.
got one thing in there. That was so he viewed because he was thinking if he could do Moscow, Pyongyang, and what is it? North Pole, he could have um he would be the biggest serial killer to ever exist because he would have wiped out so many people,
Right.
and everything. But I mean, does that count as a serial killer? Like, I guess killing somebody and then killing another person and blowing them up as a serial like.
Yeah, I guess if you're a serial killer and you burn a house down and you there's five people in it, they say that yeah, you burnt the house down and killed five people.
Is the Unabomber a serial killer?
I think he would just be known as just a terrorist, like a mass terrorist.
All right, I mean, but I'd also view him as a serial killer because he's killed a whole bunch of people.
I mean, I would say Jeffrey Dahmer, if he blew up a building, would still be considered as a terrorist
Oh, okay.
because he
However,
blew up a building.
okay, we saw that as Price scrambles to lock the White House down, the spirit of Charles Lee Ray manifests in the hallway, which was pretty cool. So you do your magic.
So we have, oh, did I hit something? Oh no, it's right over here. Um, so not that many in this one. So elevator
Except for the North Pole. I don't know how many people are in the North Pole, but
that is not listed on here.
weird.
Um, Elevator operator shot in the head, Secret Service agent shot in the chest, then stabbed in the eye with a pin, and then
We
Chucky
forgot that one.
shot by Coop. But there's no mention of the North Pole.
Which that would make it the most or whatever in that episode. But he has that scene where he took the pen and shoved it in the guy's eye and then shoved it. Whoa, what happened to that? Okay. I do not. Lower hand, please. I don't know. That's because I went like that.
You could turn that off.
I don't know how to turn that off.
You
I don't
just go
know.
into settings.
That's a pain in the butt.
Oh my God, it takes 2 seconds.
Anyway, I like the hand thing if I ever need it,
And
for
apparently Paul likes going in and out.
yeah, he won't
Instead
change
of
that. He won't
I
fix that, so
I
whatever.
turned mine off instantly. It's annoying.
I
But
know. My friend Lila had it, and she did that, and I said it's a. She said she was going to turn it off later, I guess, because she can't have that happen. But anyway, yeah. North Korea or not North Pole should have been counted, but it was not.
yeah, I
Okay,
guess you would just I mean maybe find out the population.
let's find out. Population of the North Pole. Interestingly, it's only 2,800 people.
Only those are the people who died, Jonathan. Only?
Only 2,800 people died.
Wow.
Only.
Wow.
Um.
Wow.
All right. So that was number episode 6. In episode 7, There Will Be Blood, which is so funny that that's the title of the movie with all the Tarantino talk and Paul Dano and all that stuff going on right now. I looked at that title, I was like, that's funny. But the fun thing about this is there was blood. When they say there will be blood, there was blood. There was
Yes.
lots of blood. Um, that was directed by a woman named Amanda Rowe. It was written by Catherine Shatina and Josh E. Jacobs, and it was released April 24th, 2024. This is the second to last episode. Usually always one of the best. If you look at like Game of Thrones, their last episodes aren't the best. The last episode is like the second to last, episodes of the season. That's when they do something crazy. And in this one, it was pretty crazy. Uh, uh, it says on the spirit realm, but I think it meant in the spirit realm. Charles Lee Ray meets Damballa and is challenged to kill as a ghost. That's a very short way of talking about it because he pretty much walks through the office and stuff as Charles Lee Ray. So we get to see actual Brad Dorff playing an older aged Chucky. He's like 65, or whatever he says. Which is he? Like I mean, I guess he's been counting how many years he's been alive, or whatever. So he goes up and he walks through. You see Abraham Lincoln. Now that bothered me, but that's a real thing. I know, I understand, but I've always been bothered by the fact that Abraham Lincoln's ghost haunts the White House because he did not die in the White House. He died in he was shot in a theater and he died next to the theater. So he did not die in the White House. So why is his ghost there? If you follow ghost lore, ghost whatever, you die where or you haunt where you died, right? So like if I died in this house, my ghost would haunt this house. If I died at a mental hospital, my ghost would haunt the mental hospital, right? It wouldn't go back to this house because I lived in it, you know? So I've always been bothered by the fact that people have seen the ghost of Abraham Lincoln, but that's part of the lore of there. So
I think what you're saying makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, so it always bothered me,
it
but
should be. If I died in a bathhouse, then I should be haunting a bathhouse, right?
you really keep going back to that bathhouse. I'm wondering if you're just like
I don't
interested
know.
in,
I'm
in
starting
seeing
to.
more about it. Like you should go
I
back
don't
and
know.
watch that deleted scene and hear more about it because
Maybe
you might want
maybe
to
I
go
should
to it.
just look into bathhouses.
Yeah. Um. So yeah. So in the So yeah, and then we see Chucky, the doll, being possessed by or whatever, being the spirit of Damballa, and Damballa. Honestly, I was kind of hoping we would see like Damballa itself because if you actually look at Damballa, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you or not, but if you look at what Damballa like is supposed to look like, you know, by people's things, it's actually kind of cool. He's like a snake. Kind of looks like a
Oh, okay.
Mario he's got that like mustache, like, whatever. I don't know. It's interesting. He's a serpent, And so I was kind of sad because once I found out about Damballa being a serpent, I was like, I really hope we actually get to meet Damballa this episode or some episode. And we did, but it was sort of like Chucky, you know,
Well, he said it's because of ego. He's like, oh yeah, I'm showing you what you love or what you are, or that type of thing. So I guess he's manifesting.
into the doll.
Yeah.
And so he tells basically him that he does not give a fuck about him at first, like, or whatever. But if he doesn't want to get back in the good graces, he will he'll let him as long as he kills him as a ghost. And Chucky's like, Charles Lee Ray's like, how am I gonna do that? And basically Damballa says, fuck you, figure it out, you know, and stuff. So I thought that was cool. Price discloses his plans to have Randall tape an announcement explaining that presidency will be transferred to Vice President Rhodes due to a terminal brain cancer, while Coop and Grant's security detail Hicks help Charlotte escape with Henry. Now, it doesn't mention it. Grant does not go with them. Grant stays behind because the girls, or no, not girls, the children, Lexi, Jake, and Devin are all there still at the place. So at the White House. Price summons parapsychologist Carol Lindstrom and her associate Timmy Nash to aid in cleaning the White House of its evil spirits. To persuade Charles's spirit to move on, they must have a séance. So this really becomes like insidious a little bit, you
Oh,
know.
very much.
Yeah. So, I mean, to the point where they were doing the cameras that go, right, and stuff. I can't do a really good impression of it, but you know what I'm saying. So the cameras and stuff, and I was like, oh no, I can't. I'm glad they didn't use the little mask that they have, that was in Insidious, the thing that goes over their head and that's where they talk to the spirits or whatever in Insidious.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't do that because that was specifically. I read a thing within from Lee Winnell who said that he did that specifically because, and maybe we talked about it on the Insidious, one of the Insidious episodes, but he did that specifically because it had never been done like that before because he was sick of seeing people do the exact same thing that they were having where they're just holding hands and doing a seance like that. He wanted to do a seance a different way because they're not they're not just calling the spirit, they're going into the other world, the further or whatever, which they don't call it that in this movie. Oh, we forgot to mention, I don't remember what episode it was, but I laughed so hard when I think it was the episode where he killed where he's aging and he killed the housekeeper. So maybe like one of the last episodes. But he watches all the doll movies, right? Horror films. So he's watching like Magic, I think, or something,
Yeah.
or whatever. And I think maybe he did Dead Silence, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh
Dead
man,
Silence is in there.
I'm sad that you didn't get a franchise or something." And then he sees Megan, or as he calls it, Mathregan,
Yeah.
and
Which is how it really should be pronounced.
yeah, and so he's like, he sees her take the thing off, and he goes, "She's stealing my moves, that bitch." And he's like, "Fuck you, Mathrigan," you know. And I was like, I,
Hey, it's like Fan Four Stick. It's not
I,
Fantastic Four, it's Fan Four Stick.
I think I should write to James Wan if I can. I don't know if he'd even whatever, but if they do another Megan, he should put a reference of Chucky and do it. I don't think they ever have done that yet, where they're like, "You're not as cool as Chucky" or something like that, and she's like, "Fuck Chucky," you know. So there's like this patting of each other, and
Sure.
everything. That would be cool. But anyway, um. So, where were we? To have a seance. Meanwhile, Randall is forced to record Colin's farewell tape, but Price reveals that he plans to kill him so that there are no witnesses. Randall with a Secret Service agent chasing him. They eventually fight in an elevator, but both drown when it floods with blood by Chucky, which was very Shining. I thought a lot of the blood stuff reminded me of Shining. You
Sure.
know. Um, so a lot of references to other movies and stuff. Uh, or in the seance, the group makes contact with Charles as Carol tries to get in touch. Um, Charles causes blood to rain down from the fire sprinklers. Carol, Melanie, and Rose are killed when Charles throws the listening device on the floor, electrocuting them. Timmy announces that they must meet Chucky in the spirit realm, and Jake volunteers to do it using a drug provided by Price. Jake is temporarily put under cardiac arrest and only has 5 minutes before Devin must revive him. Meanwhile, Tiffany is restrained and prepped for her lethal injection. From a promise with Gigi, Nika, who's watching the execution, passes on Tiffany their farewell message. So that. That was episode 7. There will be blood.
There we go. Okay, so our murders in this. So Erica Dorset hit by car. Oh,
Mm.
that's the guard, like the sheriff at the prison.
Okay, yeah.
Randall
Oh,
Jenkins.
that was a pretty cool death though, but
Oh, she got all twisted and messed up.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
that was
was
pretty
a
good.
yeah. You weren't expecting it at all. I like when they do that, where you're seeing a close up of her at first and everything, then they pull back and she gets hit
Yeah, her
everything.
legs
Yeah.
were all messed up
Yep.
and um Randall Jenkins drowned in an elevator of blood. Frick drowned in an elevator of blood.
Frickin' frack were their names, and I'm like, what? I never heard anybody say those names. And maybe they did it once, and I just never didn't hear it. But I'm like, they've been called frickin' frack, which I think is just what they call them, right? So, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a random thing to say, like, "Hey, Frick and Frack, get over here,"
Yeah.
type of thing. But in here, it's Randall and Frick.
Yep.
So then
Randall was
Spence.
the guy, the president's double.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Spencer Rhodes electrocuted to death, Marlene Siegel electrocuted to death, and Carol Lindstrom electrocuted to death.
Yep.
So we got six murders.
We forgot to mention the dad, Lexi's dad, in part season one is the vice president.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
that's
did a
pretty
great
cool.
job. They did a great job because I didn't know it until I was like, wait, that guy looks familiar. And I'm like, wait, he was he was the dad and it was Alexi's dad. And he did a great job because I saw him as the vice president. I didn't see him as but the problem is like Devon Sawa playing so many roles is like you're like you start to wonder like because we'll see it in the next episode, but he like sees his father, right? And you're like, wait a minute. Doesn't he like at one point want to go and say, "You look just like my dad," or whatever, or say it to the priest, And then there should have been a joke where they're like, they look at each other like, "Doesn't your dad look like a lot of people look like your dad?" Right? And stuff like that. But maybe that's too on the nose or something. I don't know. I just think that's funny to me because he just keeps popping up. All right.
Yeah. Well,
Speak.
and something else with this episode. There was a song from William Shatner in it called "You'll Have Time." There you go.
Nice. There you
Yeah,
go. Speaking of Devon Sawa, number 8 episode is called Final Destination.
as I'm
Which
sure, not a mistake.
I'm sure that was planned. Jeff Renfro is the director. Alex DeLay, Nick Ziegler, and Don Mancini wrote this episode. It came out May 1st, 2024, and is the last episode of Chucky, period. Jake wakes up in the spirit realm, meets his father Lucas, and forgives him. A great scene, by the way. I fucking love that scene. So I cried. I don't know about you. You probably didn't, but I cried. I thought that was one of the most emotionally gut punching scenes I've
What? What?
seen.
What scene?
The scene where Jake sees his dad and forgives him. So he comes up and the dad's coming in and attacking him, and then he says
No,
to his dad, "What? You didn't think that was?"
This is what I was doing. Let's get on with it. You have 5 minutes. Let's get on with it. Come on,
No,
get
but
on
it's
with
it's
it.
5 minutes in the spirit realm. It's different. Because trust me, because we were watching the time go, and there was obviously
Yeah, they
so
say that time is different in there, which is a good writing excuse. But I was still like, dude, just get the fuck on with it. I like this is taking so long. It's just like, come on, dude. I get what you're doing, but this isn't about you. This is about Chucky. So move on, man.
well, that was the only way he could move on because his dad was going to keep harassing him until he finally let him go, and his dad could let him go because that was the thing is like there's evil things there, and he had to, in my opinion, we've even talked about this. The second season had so much guilt. It was Catholic. There's a lot of guilt. He felt guilty about all the murders that happened, which weren't his fault. They're all Chucky, but he felt he was responsible for all those deaths, and he never got that resolve from it. He never got that you never got the closure from that, and everything. Because Chucky just kept coming up and even good
I think
Chucky.
he's partially to blame.
You yeah, but like, you have to move on from that or that shit's gonna eat you up for the rest of your life. And bad things are gonna happen because you're
But
never
this is
gonna
just
be
one thing. Is I just thought it took way too long.
I liked it. I thought it was great and
It's fine for him to resolve it, but my God, did it go on forever?
I liked it. I actually loved it. I thought it was very emotional and got me really in the
I was
feels.
really
Now,
hoping that Mel Gibson would stick the American flag through them, and then we could just move on.
so or the shark from Deep Blue Sea can come and grab one of them. That would be great,
Yeah,
But anyway, so I thought it was going to go a different route, and I was kind disappointed because I thought it was gonna be about him facing the guilt, for a little bit before he got to Chucky, and everything. But I mean, it was cool, so we'll get to that stuff. So he also finds Charles Spirit, who takes him to the White House's movie theater, where all of his different soul fragments are watching scenes of Chucky's life. Thought that was awesome. You got every didn't Charles Lee Ray as a young person but not too young, like the 1980 whatever 88 Charles Lee Ray, didn't that look like Tommy Wiseau? Like I was like he had the long brown hair
I
and
think,
glasses.
yeah, I would think any of them with that long hair kind of look like him. Yeah, even Brad Dourif kind of looked like him.
Yeah. And so it's really funny.
Not this time because he has the shorter hair with it hanging, but when he's had the long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean maybe Tommy stole that look from Chucky in the first movie. I don't know. But it's funny to see him like that, but I liked it. It would have been funny if they cast Tommy Wiseau as that role. It's like, no,
Oh,
I didn't do it. I didn't hit her,
maybe we could get James Franco as him to be in it.
No, not anymore, we can't. That's sad. Um,
He'll have a comeback.
maybe.
They all
Hopefully.
do.
All right. Uh, uh, so Jake notices that the good Chucky runs out and follows him into the Oval Office. Good. Was the Oval Office? I thought he followed him into like a bedroom.
Well, he finds him in the bedroom because he's sleeping.
Yeah, so so they said it was Oval Office, but that's wrong. It was the bedroom. Good Chucky says that Caroline is safe with a man named Wendell Wilkins. Jake explains to be forgiven for Nadine's death. Good Chucky must sacrifice himself. The other soul fragments enter the room to convince Good Chucky not to go through with it. Jake realizes that all of them are distracting him long enough for Chucky Prime to possess his body. Meanwhile, Tiffany is rescued from her execution by one of her brainwashed prison. Okay, so wasn't she? Didn't she have the lethal injection in her?
No, I think he was starting to put it in.
Okay, so he never actually did. Okay, so I always
Yeah.
thought he did it, and I was like, wait a minute, shouldn't she be like woozy or?
No, I think like he puts the needle in and he's starting to, and then the gunfire starts and all that.
Yeah, also pretty cool. That's gonna be fun to talk about all the deaths that are in that one because,
Well,
um,
and am I having a Mandela effect right now? I could swear, and I waited until the very end of this. I could swear there was a scene of Chucky telling Lexi that Caroline is dead because he possessed her, and people will only trust a cute little kid for so long. So he had to get rid of her. Does
no,
that ring
no,
a
no,
bell?
no, no. That was the other kid. That was telling Nika about the other kid that he possessed. Remember her, Nika's sister or something, or no, niece. Remember at the end of it, he possessed the niece or whatever, and then he ended up killing her later because he could only possess a little girl for so long because nobody believes a little girl. So that was in Cult of Chucky, I believe, is when he did that. When he said that.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought it was Caroline. I'm like, I know
No, it was
this.
in
I'm
Caroline.
absolutely
But
positive
no,
this.
I know what you're talking about because we talked about it in Cult of Chucky that
Okay.
happened and everything. So that's what you're remembering. But no, he Caroline was always alive. I guess. Meanwhile, all right. So Nico tries to stop her, but is knocked down as Tiffany escapes in a getaway car. My favorite bit was like that guy was like, "Come see us again," and she's like, "No way."
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you. That was pretty funny. And there's some cool like shooting and stuff like that in that scene. That was pretty cool.
It's
Um,
much more believable her escape than Rob Zombie did in Three from Hell.
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh my God, that escape of I don't know, baby or whatever her name is in it from prison is so unrealistic.
All
It's
right. So good Chucky must sacrifice. Okay, we got to Tiffany. Tiffany's rescued, escaping a getaway car in the White House. Price and his agents set up bombs while Devin brings Jake back from the spirit realm, unaware that Chucky is possessing his body. As Chucky says that he knows where Caroline is being held, Price kills Hicks and explodes the bombs. Grant, ooh, there's a lot in this one. Grant locks Price in the Oval Office. She's where they keep saying the Oval Office, and I'm guessing that's where they did it that time. Where he burns alive, which is pretty cool. Jake slash Chucky and Timmy get on the elevator where Chucky kills Timmy. Devin,
Timmy.
yeah, Devin, Lexi, and Grant escape from the burning White House just as Charlotte and Henry reunite again with Grant. He sees Collins and Joseph's spirits, who bid farewell. Jake slash Chucky reunites with Devin and Lexi and leads them to Wendell's address. Wendell is a doll maker who created the good guy dolls, played by John Waters, who played a whole different character, and but I guess that doesn't matter in the
In Seed of Chucky. Yeah, he
yeah
plays the paparazzi.
paparazzi. But I guess it doesn't matter in the scheme of these shows, you know.
No,
Anybody,
he likes to bring back, and of course, with Don Mancini, you want to bring like a huge gay icon,
right?
back. You don't want to just have him in one thing. So I think it's great that John Waters is the creator of all of these dolls, including Chucky. And like I told you through this entire thing, there's always another Chucky.
I know. Well, I mean, it makes sense that the person who created the Chucky would have like the first Chucky or whatever would have a old school Chucky. However, I bet if they did make another one and they needed another doll thing, they could always go back to Wendell's house and say, "Well, don't you have another Chucky?" And right? And oh, okay, here's another Chucky because he created I don't know how many, but I'm sure he kept a
Well, he
bunch.
said that's the prototype.
Yep.
So it was in a safe. But if you really wanted to include him in, you say, "Oh, we'll just come down into my basement."
Right.
And then there's all the Chuckies, more
Yep.
Chuckies that he's built over time. So,
He shows them the prototype good guy doll he created. Just as Caroline enters the room, Chucky reveals to Devin and Lexi with Caroline's help. He transfers his soul back to the doll. Tiffany also arrives. I thought that was weird because, like, when did they get in touch with each other about where to meet? You know, you just gotta like let it go
maybe
because
on the phone when they were talking to each other, he's just like, "Oh, oh."
after she escapes, maybe she called. But who would she call? Like she has no cell phone. Like I don't know. It just seems weird that she would show up there, you know,
Some things
unless
are just writer's convenience. Chucky should have a cell phone, but it's like a good guy's cell phone, but it works. So when he flips it open, it's got like the picture of the good guy on it
that's funny. That'd be cute. I'd buy that.
for $1.
Um, let's see. Caroline help he transfers soul back to the doll. Tiffany also arrives and Chucky expresses that he wishes that they could be a family again. Cause he's sad about Gigi. Um, Caroline transfers Tiffany's soul to Windows prototype Belle doll. So he made Belle and he made good guys. Like that just seems awfully convenient as well.
Well,
But
I guess I mean, they made He-Man, and to get girls involved, they got She-Ra. So,
what is
they
at
had,
Raggedy Ann? They had Raggedy Andy.
yeah,
I
Barbie,
mean,
Ken. So
I mean, I get it, but I'm just saying, like it. It once again, it feels like just convenient. Oh, he has a Belle doll. We thought the Belle doll was destroyed in the from this, from the other one.
there's
Um,
always another Belle doll.
apparently so, and
But
she always comes back.
this is, I think, even if they were going to do season 4, I think that this is Don Mancini saying, "Okay, we've really outstretched this. This is huge. We're gonna have to bring this back to basics. So we get Chucky back in the doll, we get Tiffany back in the doll. We get Gigi back in the original Glendale. We kind of go back to basics. We got the little sister who's driving them away. Um, so
Thought that
now
was
they
obviously like also very she's so young driving, and stuff like
she's like
very
looking
can
like that over
yeah,
them.
very she barely can see over everything. Not that she's not going to be picked and pulled over, but I'm pretty sure they would kill whoever pulled them over.
Oh, she's like short round from Temple of Doom. She has the blocks on her feet so she could hit the pedals.
All right, they drive away with both Chucky and Tiffany. Nico wheels herself to Windows. Another thing, how did she know? Uh, Like, uh, uh,
I
uh,
she definitely wouldn't know.
no, that was all just coincidence so that so that we could see all of because we forgot to mention they turned everybody, um, all the main cast into little teeny tiny dolls. So they're
Well,
like,
do they say that in the
I
story
think so,
thing?
maybe.
Is it
Yes,
in there?
they do. They do. So Nika wheels herself to Wendell's house and discovers that Caroline has transferred Jake's, Devon's, and Lexi's souls into marionette dolls, just as Wendell approaches her from behind. By the way, marionette is the thing that she says as a voodoo thing, and that marionette voodoo is a real. They say it's not a god. It's like it's some kind of deity, but they're not a god. They're not that powerful, but they are still sort of worshipped, I think, by people. So Marinette, you know, um,
I don't know if did you like that? I kind of thought they should have just gone into dolls, like dolls in cages. But do you like the marionette?
I mean, it,
I think it's good. I mean, are they? They could obviously think of some way to get them out, but I don't know. It's not like that's going to be easy. They're going to have to think of some way if they're still in this because what I read and I did put um what is happening with the next Chucky film is it 2026. It says the upcoming Chucky movie is officially in development with creator Don Mancini working on a new film that will be distinct from the TV series, but still connected to the franchise's universe. While there is no estimated release window, it is expected that the film will not be released in 2025, as no filming has occurred yet. The movie aims to provide closure to the TV show's story and will work in tandem with the show if it continues. Fans should expect a new Chucky movie that will explore the story further, potentially addressing the cliffhanger left by the TV series.
so I know this is a while from now, but they should do it in 2028. Because that's what is that?
That's too far.
No, that's 40. That's the 40-year anniversary of Chucky. Like, how cool would
That's
that be?
I mean, if this was a totally separate thing, but I think then you're pulling a Stranger's thing, is where the kids are still supposed to be one age, but they all look 25. So
Well, maybe you change it where they're adult, like they're now adults and they're dealing with the shit.
because like Caroline she's already aged. You
Yeah.
could tell from like the first season to the third, she's much older.
How
And
old is she?
but
How?
she's one of the best things on the show, so that's okay.
Oh, you
But
you do like her a lot, don't you?
she makes a good villain. I think that she teams up, and I'm glad that Chucky never killed her. Um, I like that she backstabs Lexi and goes off with Tiffany. So I think that she is a good, if they're gonna get rid of, let's say, Tiffany, that she would be a good replacement for her, or at least be a good companion to both of them.
All right, her name's Karina Batrick, and she. Okay, so she was born July 9th, 2012. She is 13 years old as of late 2025. So she's 13, I guess. Yeah. So if she did 2 years, she'd be 15. That's not too much. I mean, whatever. Or no, 2028, I guess she would be 16, or whatever. But still, that's not too bad, you know.
No, you
She's
you would
still a
just have
teenager.
to you would I think that you would have to play with time. You would have to stick with it in real time, is what I should say. Is
Yeah.
that they I don't think that they should say, "Oh yeah, this is one day after the show." It's going to have to be like a couple years after the show because everybody will look older.
Yeah.
And that to me is the problem with Stranger Things. Is
Yeah.
it's just like they're so different looking now than they
I
were.
just don't care because I have not watched that show in forever. Like I watched the last season, you know, and so I wouldn't even remember what they looked like before anyway.
I
Honestly.
can't stand it. I was late coming into the game, so I think I watched seasons one and two together. I hated season three with an utter passion. All it is about pop culture. It's so annoying. And then season four is much better, but since that was like 3 years ago, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen the
So
next one. I don't know. I'll watch it whenever. I know like all of the episodes are gonna be done by uh what is it? Like I think December, like New Year's Eve, which I think was stupid because that doesn't make any sense. Because the whole point was that they were gonna release some of the episodes in November, some of the episodes in December, and then finish it up at late December. Why? Why not finish it up in January so they have to like, they have to pay again for another, because I thought that was the whole point is you got to pay for a whole new, um, like that's what Netflix is doing
we
right
have to
now.
pay for 3 months
You have
then.
to
Yeah.
pay for 3 months. You can't just, or you can do what a lot of other people do is just wait till
Yeah,
it
you
all
just pay
comes
for it
out.
for 30 days. I've done that before. I'll
Yeah.
binge a whole
They
show
don't
and then
like
just
that. That's
cancel it.
why they want you to do it. And then they want you to like be afraid that there's going to be people that are going to spoil the shit out of the show beforehand, and stuff. So, I don't know. I don't like the tactics that uh these streaming companies do these days. But I do like Peacock. I was happy with watching it on Peacock. There were commercials, but actually it was like where USA would have put the commercials, you know? So perfect timing and everything. I felt like I was watching it on the USA network.
Well, it
Except,
is yeah, it's
uh,
a TV show, so you could see where the commercial breaks are
right.
if you're.
Yeah, but you were watching it on TV or Blu-ray where,
Which is funny because you could see where the breaks would be. So it would just be like, we need to get, like, we need to get to the White House now before the bomb explodes. And then it like fades out, fades back in. And then it's from a different angle though. And the guy goes, we need to get to the White House before the bomb explodes. So they just repeat themselves because there's that
oh, that's
commercial
weird.
break.
That's
Yeah, I've
weird.
noticed that on all TV, they do that.
They
It's
didn't do
so,
that for this. They didn't do that for this. I don't remember that.
oh no, there's times where they repeat
I'm talking about
themselves.
on Peacock. So I think
So.
maybe they done. Maybe they do it
You
right
might
after.
have not just noticed it, but
Okay.
it's there. They do it for all television. It's whenever they go from the beginning of the break to the end, they repeat themselves to remind the audience
Yeah.
what they're doing. Sometimes it's a little more obvious than others, but I need to do murders now.
Okay.
So then that way I could say that I've done them all. Um, so yeah, this is a little bit of a list here. So doctor shot by Eli, prison guard shot by Eli, warden shot by Eli, priest shot by Eli, prison guard,
Eli's the brainwashed
yeah, prison
cop,
guard,
prison
yeah,
guard. That's
yeah. Then just prison guard shot by prisoner, Eli shot by prison sniper, prisoner shot by sniper, sniper shot by a prisoner. Then Timmy Nash beaten by Jake, possessed by Chucky Prime, then burned to death in the White House. Hicks throat slit by Price, and then Warren Price burned to death in the White House. And that's all of them,
pretty much it.
including I always have to show off one Chucky thing. So here's another Chucky figure.
Nice.
But he's not Funko. He's a culture fly.
Oh.
So, and I do have a Tiffany, but I'll show that next week. So, and what's interesting about this one is the movies that are they don't list Child's Play 1. So it just says Chucky, Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky. They don't put in Child's Play 1 in here. I wonder why. And it doesn't have a date. It just says Universal Studios, so it is official. But it's weird how they don't include the first film.
Thing.
So, but yeah, so that is
Nice. He's
my
cute.
thing for the week. Yeah, I like that he has the knife. There is a Tiffany that she just doesn't hold. She's in the wedding stuff,
Oh,
but
okay.
she doesn't hold anything. I'm like, you got to give her a weapon. But then I found one that's kind of cool, so I bought that one because I did want both. So,
That's cool.
but yeah, that's my little Chucky for the show.
Like I said, I think I told you before, my nephew loves Chucky, like what he loves, like the look of Chucky, because Chucky's a doll, and my nephew likes dolls. So my niece hates dolls, and so she's just like, I don't like Chucky. But it is what, I made a mistake today because my nephew has a blanket that was mine. Jackie Hall sent me a blanket that all the horror people on, and one day it was missing out of my room, and it was in my nephew's room, and it was his now. It was his blanket because it's small anyway. I can't really wear it, or whatever. I can't get under it, so it works for him as a small little guy. But it has all the horror people on it, so it's got the Bruce the shark from Jaws. It's got Freddy Krueger, both Pennywises. It's got everybody, right? In one. And I said to him, I said, oh, that's Pennywise. Your mom hates clowns. And I hear her out of the off screen, you know, I hear her go, "Don't tell him that." And I was like, "Oops." I didn't mean to like do it, but like, that's she does not like clowns. But I don't think she wants him to not like clowns. Like I don't think she wants him to follow in her path like that. Like if he likes clowns, he likes clowns, kind of
Sure,
thing and stuff. And so by telling him that, that might already make him like not want to like clowns or whatever. But I think I've always loved clowns. I've never been terrified of clowns, you know, not even with Terrifier or whatever. Doesn't They don't scare me, their look. I think some of them look ugly on purpose, you know, but they don't terrify me because I don't know. It's very weird what I'm terrified of, you know. And so Chucky doesn't terrify me. I've always thought, you could fucking punt that dude. Why? But you can't. They do have ways. Like you saying he steps on Alex Vincent's chest and stuff like that, or whatever. Um he's got ways to make sure, he can get you.
yeah, especially
You
with
know?
that flag and his legs on the back of her. They really focused on a few of the deaths with the legs.
Yeah.
So they've come a long way.
I did like the aging Chucky. I thought that was really cool. We did get to see my least favorite Chucky again. We had to see
The
the
Colonel.
napalm guy. I was not a fan of the Colonel, but he didn't bother me except when I saw him in this one, he looked way faker. I don't know if it was CGI or something, but it didn't look right. There was something about it. I don't know. Um, but anyway, I got to see all the other Chuckies and stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool. All the Chuckies we've seen, all together, and those are fun to me. You know.
Sure.
So this was my favorite. Let's talk about the ranking because I don't know if you got to do one, if you figured that out, or did you make a ranking for yet?
No, I thought we were going to do that on the next video so we could include the documentary and stuff.
Okay, let's do that then. I gotta.
But as far as like a star rating goes on this, I still think um out of the TV shows, I still think season two is my favorite. Maybe season one and then this one. But if I had to rate this one, I would still probably give this like a four.
I give this a 4.5. Um, I wouldn't give it a 5 because like it's not my favorite. I think Child's Play 1 is my favorite. So, but it's up there. Like it's one of the it might even beat Bride of Chucky. I've got to really think about it. But I just really enjoyed it. It's such a fun show, and that this season really like they stepped up their game for final season that didn't know there were going to be a final season because as we said earlier that but like Chucky talks to the audience at the end and kind of says we're going to be back, and whatever,
Well,
vote
there's
for us
the
or something.
hashtag whatever it is up there, and he's like, if you want a season four, let us know.
So I wonder if that just didn't work, you know.
Everything that I saw that was mostly on Twitter at the time was saying Chucky in space. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we want Chucky back. We want him in space. And I think Don Mancini even jokingly went, "Oh yeah, yeah, well we're gonna put him in space." But I have a feeling that was might have been real. Who knows?
I mean, he just went to the White House. Where else can he go,
He has to get bigger and bigger,
yeah.
so he has
I
to go
mean,
to
maybe
space.
they would do that for the fifth season if they had gone to the fifth season, because then they could. That's the biggest they can go. You can't go bigger than space, you know.
Yeah, well, if he's on a space station, then you put him on a planet. You have Chucky on Mars. You can make
Chucky,
it like,
Chucky could have gone on a cruise ship and went to Manhattan or Canada,
oh God,
you know.
no, no, we don't want that at all.
I do.
But if this is the ending, like if he's not going to do movies again, that's fine. I am happy with three because I screwed myself with Cobra Kai. I said I wanted 9 seasons. No, sorry, I wanted 6 seasons. I wanted a beginning, middle, and end. So seasons one, two, and three. Then I wanted a beginning, middle, and end. Four, five, and six. And I would be happy with that. And then they talked about spin-offs and movies. I was like, okay, I want that too. But by the time that we got to season five, I was like, fuck, maybe they should have only done 3 seasons and then by season six, which I really didn't like, I felt okay, now they're just writing to write. Now they're just like
Mm.
fulfilling a contract. And I still haven't seen Legends. I don't want to. Um,
Legends is not.
the
It's
thrill
not
is
even
gone.
written by any of the people from the thing. It was completely it was just felt like a different movie. Except they tied, you know, Ralph Macchio, you know, anyway, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, you know. Um but it was okay. It wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. I
Yeah,
was hoping
well,
for
and I
better.
didn't like that they tied it in with the Jaden Smith Karate Kid. I wasn't a
No, that
fan of
didn't
that.
bother me because we didn't get any of Jaden Smith stuff. We got Jackie Chan, and I really enjoyed the Jackie Chan stuff. And we did do more of the Kung Fu stuff, which still bothers me that it's not karate, it's Kung Fu that he teaches.
Right.
Um, but because that's the idea is as a kid from China who goes to, you know, um,
Well, the producer who owns the title has said why he did that. He said nobody's going to go see the Kung Fu Kid.
right.
They're going to
Uh,
see the Karate Kid. So even though he's doing Kung Fu, we're just going to call it karate.
are you saying, Mister, I'm gonna slap your face if you piss me off? If you talk about my wife, is that who you
Keep
know?
my wife's name. I read somewhere that he's suing Netflix and who did he slap? Kevin Hart
Yeah, why would he sue Kevin Hart?
because of the jokes on his tour, and then I guess Netflix aired the special. So I just read it. I have no idea if
Okay.
it's true or not. I just read it, and it just said that Will Smith is suing both of them because of the jokes
Oh, what a
that
poor
they did.
baby. He can't
And
take it.
he's
Oh, well, he's
such
gonna slap me next. Oh my
he's
goodness.
he's a beta. He's such a cuck.
Mm.
But yeah, there's so I am happy. Better to leave on a high note because my biggest part with season three, biggest problem with season three is I don't I kind of don't like the Insidious stuff. That I wasn't looking forward to. I like all the murders in the different rooms of the White House and stuff. I like that. But once we got into the Insidious stuff, it was like, oh yeah, that's right. We're gonna have like a
Yeah, you
whole like
forgot about that. Yeah,
yeah, it's like an episode and a half of just
of
Jake
Jake
walking
and
around.
and
Jake walking around like this throughout the whole film.
it's so funny that like when he comes back as like he's got Chucky in him, his hair's apparently different, which I never noticed. But he's like, yeah, Jake's hair is naturally curly, or whatever. And I'm like, the fuck, like,
He does a pretty good imitation,
yeah,
when he was possessed. He did it was
yeah.
pretty
I
good.
I didn't think I thought, even though I knew that was Chucky, you know, and like that kid that was the guy who plays Jake, Zachary Arthur, I think is his name. He was great as Chucky. I don't know if they did his voice differently or if he did his voice differently. It sounded like it was him,
I
doing the
think it was
voice.
him because you could hear his voice every once in a while, like he kind of dropped it for a second. So
Right.
I think it is him. I mean,
That did a great job. I thought he sounded like
yeah.
Charles Lee Ray. Um, it was funny because I read somewhere that Chucky or Brad Dorff loved this season because, he got to like speak to himself, you know? So there's that scene with him and the other Chucky, and he's talking to him as Damballa or whatever, but he had to have his voice be used so that the mouths matched up and everything. So he had his actual voice be recorded and say the lines. So he said it was almost like as if somebody else was talking to him, because even though he knows he did those, those lines and everything. I think that was pretty neat. I don't know. I liked it. I was happy.
Hmm.
Um,
No, no, it's a good season. The Insidious stuff is just because we've already seen it. It's been in Insidious like 5 movies now. So it was fine. It was okay. I didn't hate watching the ending, but it was just like, oh yeah, the Insidious stuff is now
let's
here.
moving along.
Yeah,
Making it
yeah.
all the time.
Let's get back to Chucky burning down the White House and
That
stuff.
are
That would be.
blowing up the White House. And it wasn't even Chucky. It was a
Oh yeah, it was
fucking
Price.
the Price who shouldn't have done that because that it was his fault. He got killed. He started that whole thing. But like I think politically speaking, that could have been. I don't know though, because 2024, and this was probably shot late 2023, because it had to come out before 2024, right? So that was still Biden administration. So I don't know if they were trying to say anything because politically about like today's political climate, or anything. Because they
Mm,
definitely didn't. Nothing reminded me of like let's bash on like Trump or anything.
no, I don't think there was anything in there like that. I mean, watching Supergirl, my God, do they bring up Trump? But it's just like, fuck, shut up, already. We get it. You don't like him. We get it. It's just like, oh, fuck, shut up. But
Yeah, because
it's,
that was about the time that Trump was in for his first term, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
uh, I
But I
mean,
mean, Price got greedy and went a little crazy and all that type of stuff. We got the vice president who was going to become president, and so Price was probably going to get something out of it. A little bit more because the vice president was perfectly fine with doing all of this because then he got the power. But
mhm,
it's so I believe that a lot of this stuff could happen in real life. That there's they with JFK being shot, they covered him up. When there were like photos taken of him
yeah,
dead, they fixed his head and everything, so it didn't look as bad. So
yeah.
it was so I believe these type of things happen. And sure, I mean there's a ton of shit we don't know.
Not, and we won't probably ever know
No.
unless somebody inside the White House or whatever says something. But even then, like you look at all the stuff that like we might get, like the Epstein files and all that crap. A lot of it's already covered up, redacted and stuff. Like they don't want people to see the real names because that would cause like a lot of stir. I mean, like Joe Blow, doctor who, might be worried, and stuff. But like, anybody really high up should not worry or should not worry because all of them want to be protected, and stuff.
Oh, I
And
think Trump is on there 100%.
oh yeah.
I mean,
I
you
mean,
know,
because they hung out. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean he did anything. That's the thing that bothers me about this list is anybody can go to that island, right? Like anybody can go to the island. That doesn't necessarily mean they did anything. There's no proof. There was only like that one girl's word against Prince Andrews. Like that's it. Like there's no, um, it becomes like he said, she said anyway at the end of it because like who knows what really went on unless you find video, or something of
well,
these.
which they could say is doctored.
They could say it's
And
AI, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it's God, we're way off topic on this. It's uh
I'm glad we did at the end when we already finished
yeah.
pretty much talking about this.
Well, yeah, and I should go soon. Gotta go to the bathroom. But the you could put anybody's name on that list that you want.
Hmm.
So that's a, I remember somebody saying that there was the rumor out there that Whoopi Goldberg was on it. And I remember her on The View going, "What? How would I
I mean,
be on the list? I've never, what?
right.
How?" And so
Um,
you could put anybody, Trump could put all of his enemies on there.
yeah, I think you could doctor it if you wanted to, and nobody could know. But anyway, and I mean I say release the list anyway, but I mean, like I said, even if they did, I don't think it would be like the full list of the real people or whatever
No, it would
and
have the
stuff.
big black lines going through
Yeah,
it,
be
and
redacted and everything, and then because that's what they did before, didn't they? They sent that before, and they people's names were redacted. So we already
well,
know
with like,
like a couple
well,
people are on it.
I mean, the Kennedy assassination, they when they released the reports on that, it was just black. Everything was blacked out.
Mm.
And then also, what is it with the UFOs? Like Trump
And
released
so
the files on the UFOs, and all that shit was blacked out.
it's so funny because that was the big deal. Like Caroline Levitt came out and said, "Oh, we're gonna do this and blah blah blah." Yeah, right. We're gonna make sure all this happens. Maybe even Pam Bondi, and them all said that, and then it nothing happened and whatnot. Like
It's
anything
be
big.
I think my theory on this is they're like, we got the list. Okay, there's a list. We're gonna bring out the list. And then they looked at the list and went, oh shit, Trump and other people are on this that we don't want people to know. So then Bonnie went, there's no list. There is no list. And then the reporter said, well, isn't it on your desk? That's what you said. There's no list. There's no list. And then she came back saying, there is a list. Well, yeah, because they screwed with it,
Yep.
but they haven't released it yet because maybe it doesn't look good. Maybe it looks bad. Maybe they
Yeah.
couldn't take Trump's name off of it or something like that. So,
Or
I
maybe they
mean,
could, and it looks like they took his name off of it.
yeah,
And
there's
so
like
so
some big, triangle around his name.
right,
So,
and so I don't know. I
or
don't care. If they release it,
rectangle.
they release it. If they do not,
I
um,
I'm at the point of I'm curious, but I don't really care. We haven't had any reports of the island. I would be curious to see what's going on with that. It's amazing of how much he was involved in. You know, I'm blanking on his who hung
Epstein.
himself, Epstein. Like I was watching a three-part documentary
Oh, I
on
saw that. I think.
Victoria's Secret, and all of a
Oh no.
sudden, in like
Yeah.
episode two, all of a sudden the guy, the president, the CEO of the company, basically under the table handed everything to Epstein. And he made all the decisions because this guy was like 80 years old and like senile. So somehow, even though not on paper, and nobody knows how much he was getting paid, everything had to go through Epstein. Like his girlfriend became a model,
Ew.
and and
Maxine or Max,
no, no, no,
whatever
not her. It
Maxwell.
was like some young girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he had his hand in everything. So it's like how many people were really involved in all this? I mean, the list must be like that thick. So
Who knows? Who cares? It'll whatever happens, happens, There's nothing we can do about it, right? You know?
That's true.
Um, whether it comes out, great. If it does not come out, great. I mean, I I would like it to just come out just so we can see it, and so people will stop freaking out about it, but like in the same sense, it it's just a list of people who went to an island. That doesn't necessarily mean they did anything, in my opinion. So like, I don't know. Is there pictures of people on the island doing bad things? That's the things that we need, proof that they did all these nasty things, but
I
just
would
them
think
going
there'd be video cameras, would be security, some sort of
right. But I
surveillance
guarantee you
that
all that got scrubbed, you know.
probably
Um,
just like the P
so
Diddy stuff. So,
but then again, you can't scrub everything off stuff. You can still find things. Like there's ways to go in and find it. So maybe there was a security
oh, they
because
got these computer guys that can dig and dig and dig and
I
dig
know
and
that's
find
what the
stuff
FBI
that,
does,
yeah,
But then again, if you have the FBI in your pocket, you can be like, yeah, don't do that.
erase, 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 erase.
Erase, erase, erase. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't care. I don't care because literally, I do care. I mean, I care that these awful things happen, you know, and everything. I care about that, and I would like people to be brought up to justice. But it's, I mean, so the list goes out. What are you going to do? Arrest every single person that's on that list? Like, well, why? You know? So I don't know. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for this. We have one more episode left. We're going to be talking about
Phew.
the documentary that's out on the big documentary. It's like 4 hour long. One that's on Shutter. So I have to buy Shutter again. Maybe I can find a code and get like off or something because I really Shutter is my least favorite because it was my favorite once $5. Now it's $7. Pretty soon it'll be $9 or $10. I'm just like it's not worth it. Like I love Shutter, but it's not worth it. There's not enough good content. You know, there's, it should be like Tubi where it's free with commercials, but you know, whatever.
I might be seeing, which is one of the reasons why I need to go, Silent Night, Deadly Night tonight. There's a
Oh,
10
nice.
o'clock showing. I was gonna maybe see if I should get a seat. It's empty. There's nobody in there. Not one seat is selected for tonight at 10. I don't know about 8, but oops. Okay, I don't think this is gonna
Yes.
do very well.
Um, Kind of sucks because that's an independent film basically, and indie films deserve, attention. But let me see about mine for tomorrow. Um, because
Yeah, if I don't go tonight, I'll go tomorrow at 8.
I was planning on going to it at some point, but
Oh,
oops,
8:15.
no planning.
Not
So
one seat is taken for tomorrow. But I really gotta go.
okay. All
I
right,
gotta
everybody. Hope
I
you
gotta
guys enjoyed this. We'll talk to you soon.
All
Bye,
right, bye.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.